Hello, this is my, I don't know why I always say hello. This is my fourth floss tube, and I've been wanting to do this for like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, but we went to Europe and I acquired a couple things while I was in Europe. Nothing big, and I'll show them to you. And before that, I think the last floss tube, number 3, I said I had a scratchy throat. That turned into the flu. That was a drag because I get the flu shot every year since 1999 when I had a really bad flu. And I always don't think I'm going to get it, but apparently the shot didn't catch the flu strain this year. So I got it, my daughter got it, my husband got it right after me, and we were barely well before we got to go on the cruise. And the Wednesday before we left, on the Tuesday night before we left on Thursday, before we flew out, our power went out at 8:30 p.m. and it did not come on until Wednesday at 3 p.m. because we live on a road with lots of really tall trees, and one of them fell, and so they just didn't, apparently a lot of trees fell in that storm. Well, last night, so I guess the end of that story is I was doing laundry the morning that we left at around, I think we left around noon to go to the airport. But last night, or yesterday, another giant tree fell because we had another storm here in Atlanta, and it fell straight across the road and took down all the power lines and the cable and everything. And our power was out for 7.5 hours from 3:30 yesterday when I was out there directing traffic, because we also live on a curve, and I just didn't want people fly down this road, and I didn't want them to hit each other. So I directed traffic until the police citizens patrol came, and they had their green jackets on to take over. I need a green jacket, but I don't want to join the citizens patrol. I'm too busy stitching. And so anyway, we didn't have power last night from 3:30 until 11 o'clock at night, when we were in bed, of course, because we didn't have anything else to do. But what a pain. Anyway, I have a lot of things to show. I've done a lot of stitching in the past month. I tried to keep a track of it, and I just have to say I do my own little rotation. Apparently, it depends on what I'm interested in stitching at the time, or if I'm in a stitch along. And so, but also, while I was keeping my hours, I just kind of was thinking of things that I wanted to talk about on Flosstube that y'all might be interested in. And as you can see, I'm in my craft room, where you can buy 5 spools for 10 cents, according to my vintage sign. And this right here behind me is, I'll just talk about that for a minute, because some people are interested in my needlework repair. I have to say that needlework repair and restoration, I love it because I'm always learning things with it. I don't love the hours. There are a lot of hours, you never make your money. I think I said that. Here's an old picture of me knitting at my last house, and my little dog, my old dog. Let me pull that down. Oh, if I can get it. Okay, here I am. This is me a long time ago. And I'm knitting, and I'm wearing some slippers that I knit, and there's my old dog Daisy. She's a sweetie. I have 2 dogs now, and they're out. Of course, if you are a subscriber or you've watched me, you know that I have dogs because they're loud. I have a cattle dog and a lab mix. Okay, so let me pull this down and explain it. A man, this was a customer, asked me to restore an Afghan that his mother had made him. and he sent me pictures. I am, according to the other lady I know who does needlework restoration in Texas, I am not supposed to agree to do things for people unless I have it in hand. But I'm really bad about just quoting um, when they send me photos. I'm trying not to do that anymore. I'm also trying not to do any repair work or restoration work because I'm busy doing my own stitching and enjoying it. But anyway, this guy sent this Afghan, and I knew it was not knit. I knew it was not crocheted. It appeared to be woven, but I had no idea how she made it. I agreed to do it. I agreed on a price. Uh, I believe it was several $100s. He had no problem with that. He just wanted it fixed. It had a lot of sentimental value to him, and so he sent it. It looked like it had old cat urine stains on it. It had a lot of damage all over it. I can't remember how many squares I repaired. I think it was something like 26 squares out of maybe 48 that were in it. And I had to learn how to do it, and I had to find the tool. So I happened to be at my mother's up in Gatlinburg, and I went to, I think it's called the Spinnery. They have yarn. It's a wonderful yarn shop, and I should know the name. I'm pretty sure it's the Spinnery. Nice ladies, and they also have everything for spinning and weaving and such. And they happen to have the little square weave right type thing that I was pretty sure that it was the right size and everything that made these squares. So here it is, but I still didn't know how to do it. So I Googled a lot. I Googled, and I found out that somebody had done a Piecework magazine article on vintage Afghans made this way, like in the, I don't know when they did it, like 40s or 50s. And I think she had a vintage one. Martha Stewart actually came out with these again, and I had that, and then I think I got rid of it because I still have this one that I bought. I like the nice wooden one. And anyway, so I bought the back issue of the Piecework magazine, and I read the article, and I learned how to do it. So, like I said, I had to do a lot of these. You see the Afghan. That's what some of them looked like. Some of them just had big pulls. They had cat urine, whatever. And if behind me, see this? Oh, sorry. I have a ton of vintage and new. I have a new Dazor, but then I have vintage ones that I buy at Goodwill. Okay, behind me, see, this is full. Let me see if I can turn. This is full of all vintage tapestry wool that I have picked up all over the place and bought all over the place. And it's color coded, kind of, like based on, it's labeled colors, teal green shades, burgundy, rose, light pink, etc. So I think, everything I need. I think I may have bought one color, like at Hobby Lobby or something. I don't remember. This was a couple years ago. That's the problem is I work on them intensely with tunnel vision until I get it finished. And he was extremely happy with it. The only thing that real, and I loved making those little things. Now I'd have to figure it out again because, I did it intensely and then I forgot. But anyway, like here, you see there had been repairs in wrong colors. I took that out. I mean, I when he got it back, it looked new. This right here, when I had it, if you're going to work on this, you have to take all this off. It's always more than it looks like. It's always more hours than it looks like. It took 7 years of constant work, and that's why I'm taking a break right now. But when I started crocheting this back on, I know crochet, and I figured that out. But when I started doing this again, it didn't look the same. And it took me a while to figure out I'm left-handed. That's why it didn't look the same. If I turned it over and started doing it left-handed backwards from how she did it, it looked exactly the same. And it really didn't matter anyway, because that's just me being a perfectionist. Because this is dark burgundy. Who's gonna tell whether it's going one way or the other? It's whatever. So anyway, he was very happy. He was very nice in his email about it, and that makes me happy more than the money, which is not why you do it. You do it for the challenge and to make the customer happy. But anyway, what else? Okay, so here I am looking at my acid green. Had a friend, she knows I love green as my color, so she always gives me like Christmas gifts and birthday gifts full of green things. She gave me this lovely green journal, and I just wanted to talk now about what I've learned this year through Facebook stitching groups that I didn't know about until 2016. I mean, what I've learned in 2016, because now it's 2017. But I've learned a lot, and I love to learn things, so that's right up my alley. And I wondered, what all y'all had learned this year that had to do with, that you learned from Flosstube or YouTube's or Facebook. Here's some of mine. I learned railroading. I never knew what railroading was until I learned that in Sampler Guild. A fellow stitcher said, well, do you know how to railroad? And she showed it to me, and it's like I can do it now so quickly that if I'm stitching with 2 pieces of floss in my needle, I just pretty much railroad all the time. I love that because it lays your stitches down straight. I learned, okay, how old am I and how long have I been doing this? Did you know, I never knew this until like a month ago. Did you know, I'm pretty sure, that DMC floss has dye lots? Okay, if you look, hold on a second, hang on. Oops. Okay, sorry. The advantage of being in my craft room is I can grab stuff. Okay. Let me just find it. Let me find one. It has to be a newer one. Okay, here we go. Okay. If you look, like I never thought about it. And why did I never think about it? This is 154. Okay, it doesn't really matter, but the newer ones, I don't know if the older ones had it, but do you see this little tiny number right there? That's a dye lot. And if you go and you're in Hobby Lobby or Joann's or Michael's, wherever you are, and you're looking at like 20 of these in their little 154 section, if you need 7 or 8 of them, make sure you grab the right dye lot. Never had any idea of that. Okay. Sometimes I feel like, I don't know, a motherless child or something? I don't know. Okay. So, sorry. Then, by the way, sorry, segueing back to needlework repair. One day I'll tell you about that. That's the one someone never picked up, and I'll explain why, like maybe in my next Flosstube. That's another story. Okay, getting back to things I learned. Railroading. DMC floss has dye lots. Stitch-alongs. I was aware of stitch-alongs through Knitting Guild back several years ago when I was a member of that for a while. I tried to stitch along a lace thing. What do you call it? A lace scarf. And I had never done lace. I'd never followed a lace pattern. I'd never used very fine yarn, even though I'd been knitting since I was 8. So I thought I wanted to do it. It was a Yahoo group. And so I tried to do it, and I tried to start it at some stitcher's house. And that was the year that I learned that you don't go and stitch in a stitching group and start a lace knitting pattern when everybody's yakking, because that does not work. And I never finished that. I still have the lace weight yarn, and it's Zephyr something. Uh, Maybe I'll give it away to a knitter. It's a beautiful, like, teal, peacock teal kind of color. I will never make that. But I did learn about stitch-alongs, but I didn't know about the cross-stitch stitch-alongs until 2016. Facebook groups, didn't know about that. Stash Unload, didn't know about that. And I want to say, I just watched Tanya's sewing room video, and she said something about until she realized that they were not what they seem to be. I don't understand why some people seem to like almost have like old stashes of really old patterns, and they're constantly just trying to sell them on there. I don't know if they're like going and buying them and selling them or what. And they also, those people who run that group make it so difficult to sell anything on there because they have so many rules, and then they take away your pictures if you don't do it correctly. I don't know. I mean, that's a weird group. I for a while I was really gung-ho looking at that all the time and seeing what was out there, and it educated me on, you know, what all was out there and what people were doing, what people were buying. But I agree with Tanya. It's weird. I shouldn't diss things, but that's kind of, anyway. All right. Number 6 was Needlework Market. I hadn't been before. I went this year. That was really interesting. It was interesting to see what first came out. EGA and SGA, those are my local Embroiderers Guild and Sampler Guild of Atlanta. Joined those this year. That was new. New stitches I've got written down here. I wrote this a couple weeks ago. New stitches. I've learned a bunch of new stitches. I've mainly learned that through Sampler Guild and that 18th century sampler pattern. New designers. I learned a lot about designers through Stash Unload and, you know, some of the other Facebook groups, and y'all, Flosstube. Frames. I have no idea why I have frames down on here. So I've been working on frames. I've been trying to restore some of my old frames. That seems to be my latest obsession. And so I'm researching that a lot. Maybe that's why I put that on. The parking method. I had no idea that was done. I watched someone's video on it. It was very interesting. I'm fascinated by the gridding and the parking, and I'm fascinated by haids. I actually repaired a haid for someone, for a customer, before I even knew what they were. And I thought she was insane to have a pattern like that and be trying to do that, and then it got pulled by, or it looked like she almost like had it under a chair leg, and and then somebody tried to pull it out. So that's what I fixed. I can show you that later. It's Michelle. I can't think of that name. Michelle. I can't remember the name of the designer, but it's a Santa head, and it's going to be gorgeous. I did not park. I just individually, tried to fix it. It's on who knows what count, teeny tiny, 1/1, and I really hope that the stitcher can finish it. And I really apologize that I didn't know what it was when I fixed it for her, but I patched it with canvas on the back and stitched through, and hopefully I caught the broken pieces of canvas. I hope she was happy with it. And pin stitch. I just learned pin stitch for when you have like individual stitches out in the ozone and you want to make sure that it stays in. I just learned that from Nicola Parkman's video on YouTube, and I believe now it's on Flosstube, and that is really cool. I plan to use that. I haven't used it yet, and I'm going to rewatch the video. Fabric contents. Jobelin and Lugana have got nylon in them. I did not know that before. I didn't know that even weave was cotton. I just didn't know these things. And so I've tried to educate myself on fabrics. I tend to be a linen lover, not a snob. I do things on, if I have it in my stash. I've probably thrifted it somewhere and I'm going to use it. So, but I do tend to prefer linen. I do tend to prefer, I love, love, love old linen. I don't think I showed you this, and it just happens to be hanging around on my chair. I don't think I showed you this, but this is some old heavy linen. Oh my gosh, it almost feels like a sack. It's so heavy and old. And it was a tablecloth that I remade into this, and this pillow cover, and like I could even use, the edges are finished because it was like woven, I guess, on a loom way back when, and so this is all finished, and I didn't have to do anything on the back, and I'll just, you know, figure out something to put on there, some ties or whatever. But this is my attempt at my first attempt at hand embroidery. I think I may have shown you this because I bought at a thrift shop, I bought an old Simplicity pattern or something that had the monograms that you iron on, and that's what I followed. But you have to couch this, and so I learned couching. I think I looked at Needle and Threads. I think it's Needle and Thread. Mary Corbett, is it, who shows a lot of embroidery stitches. And I've almost finished it, but then I quit, as usual. But I just love that old linen. And I learned that somebody told me recently that silk is okay because the silk of today is better. I still think that I'm still researching museum restoration type things, textile restoration and things like that, and I don't know, the jury's out on that, how I feel about that. And then I wrote down some things stitching things that I don't like. I think y'all can relate to that. I'm going to go through this really fast because then I have things to show you. Pet hair. That will always and forever be a problem for me because I will always and forever have pets. Fuzzies from my robe and certain sweaters getting in my stitching. I have this great fuzzy red robe that my mother gave me for Christmas. Love it, but every time I stitch and I have that on, I just can't do it anymore. I have to use my old gray cotton sweater or robe because I get red fuzzies and it's just so frustrating. And then I have a red sweater, same thing, fuzzies. I hate burned out task light bulbs. With my Dazors, I have those Circline bulbs, and they're harder to find. I found a bulb store actually close by, bought one, brought it home, and the connection's not right or something. I took it back to her. It was $17. Took it back to her. She tested it with her little testing wand and said it works, but maybe the connection's wrong. So I have to carry my whole thing in. And some of these things, not this one. This is a Verolux, an old vintage Verolux. But my vintage Dazor has this heavy base, so my husband's going to have to go with me. I'm going to take the whole thing in and see what she thinks. Tiny bugs around my task light. Like fruit flies at night or whatever. We got an invasion of stink bugs. Ugh, I hate bugs around me at night when I have my light on. This is in my house too. I'm talking dropping needles. I hate dropping a needle. Where do they go? It's like socks vanishing in the dryer. The family complaining about my needles and pins on the floor. I guess they wouldn't complain if I stayed in my craft room, but I mainly stitch on the sofa. in the den. So there's just going to be needles and pins on the floor. Yesterday, the dog was hungry and my lab mix, and she knocked over my little table that is beside the sofa, knocking all my straight pins that I was using on a finishing project, all over the floor, knocking my laptop off. And then I moved it to an ottoman, and then I sat down and knocked the pins all over the floor again, right before I was supposed to go out of the house to meet a friend. It happened. Then I couldn't find my magnetic wand that helps pick up the pins. Couldn't find it anywhere in the craft room. Okay, found frames. Just yesterday I was in a thrift store, found a beautiful old pine frame. I'm always finding frames. It was $4.99. It was solid wood. I put it down. I have found so many frames that I didn't have anything to put in them, and I just said no, do not do that again. Put it back. It was also really heavy. I think it was too heavy really to put, stitching in. Being too sick to stitch. My husband said to me when I had the flu, I know how bad you feel because you're not stitching. That sucks. Because if I'm sitting around, of course I want to be stitching, but sometimes you're too sick to stitch. Here comes my husband. He's going to come in the door going, hello, or coughing or something. So I apologize in advance. It was my birthday this week, and I asked for rocks for my garden. So he just took his truck and got me some pea gravel rocks about this big for our dry creek bed out in the front yard that's for drainage. That's what I wanted. I'm the gardener here. Politics and stitching. I am one of those people, I do not like local politics. I do not like politics. I do not like media and politics. I vote in the big elections, but I'm just not a political person, and it makes me unhappy to hear politics from stitchers on Flosstube. I'm sorry, that's just me. Bad linen or cheap, hairy, slubby linen. Have some of that in my stash. Hate it when I pick that up and start stitching on it. It's kind of like you get what you pay for. And finally, my least favorite thing is telling somebody or showing somebody what I'm doing, and they go, and my mother does this every time, where are you going to put it? Where are you going to put that? I don't care where I'm going to put it. I just want to stitch it. I don't ever think about where I'm going to put it. I admire those of you who have tidy houses, but my house is not tidy. And when I go to put it up, I probably have to take 3 things down. So I just stitch for fun, and I worry about that later. Okay, we're now 28 minutes into me yakking, and now I'm going to talk about and show you what I've been working on. This is a thing that I'm still trying to finish. There's my husband saying hello when he comes in the door. I'm doing a floss tube.
What?
I'm floss tubing.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so what have I've been, okay, when I went to Europe, I took this, Carriage House Samplings, Kathy Barrett, I think Kathy Barrett, pretty sure. Anyway, I took this. This is done on black, but mine is on a green. This was already kitted up when I bought the kit, and at a shop that went out of business here. And so I got this much done. Oops, sorry for the, let me turn this. Here we go, okay. I got this much done, and So since you saw it last, I think I did some of this. I finished some of this. I started the snake. I did this on vacation, like on the plane and everything. I was always stitching. The flight attendant was like, "What are you making?" And I showed her. She's like, "Oh, I love that." That was nice. I had to change the color of this because the color that came with it was like almost exactly the same color as the background. This is like a dark, dark green. I guess it's like a Picture This Plus or something. And it's the first time I've used over-dyed linen, and I think I said in my last Flosstube or the one before that that it's nice. It's softer. I guess they've washed it. I don't know. I don't know about these dyes. If y'all know, like, literally, like, chemistry of these dyes, like, are they acid dyes? Are they neutral, pH neutral dyes? I would love to know that, just because I'm curious. But anyway, I am really enjoying this. This is 1/1, and I don't know what the count is, but I am enjoying it. And I will continue that in my strange, whenever I want to, rotation. Next, this morning I just worked on my April for this freebie Stitch Along Joyful World Snowflower Diaries. I try to get these on my Facebook as my cover photo each month at the first of the month, and of course I was behind because I was gone for 2 weeks on my trip. And so I started that this morning. I just started that framing this morning. Okay. Before I went on the trip, when I was sick, I did some more of my 18th century sampler. I did some more of these lace medallions. I enjoy this whenever I work on it. And then I put it down for a while and work on it some more. And then I started the Tempting Tangles Mystery Stitch Along. I was working on this right before I left, and I almost finished when the power went out. So I couldn't finish somewhere in here. And now she's got the second part out. It's got a little house on it. And so I'll be probably working on this next week and try to finish the next little section with the little house. This is so cute. And I admire Nicole from Nicole's Needlework Flosstube. She always tells us the count and the colors and everything. I stink at that. I don't ever remember. But if you want to know, I will, of course, measure it and let you know. But these are pieces that I haven't bought recently. This is what I'm using out of my stash. And this is DMC, all DMC. I had to buy some colors for it that I didn't have. Okay. I worked on Santa a little bit. I love working on this when I work on it, and I started doing his list. This is his big list. I think that's basically what I did. I think I did maybe a little more on his beard, like doubling, crossing over on his beard. And so that's in my rotation. And I did a little bit more on his eyes on the sparrow. I don't remember what I did. I know I finished this peacock. Looks like I started this guy. I believe I started this. I did a bird, and I think I did this one since the last time. Maybe I did that. I'm not sure. I know when I started I had only done this and started him. So I did a little bit more work on this. And I love doing it. I love, each little motif. Love that. That's 35 or 36 count. I did buy that fabric. And this is what I've redone this like 7 times, this finish. And I want to show you, darn it, let me see if I can put my hands on it really quickly, because I want to show you the pattern for this. Hang on just a second. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I got it. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, please forgive my waiting. Okay, I want to show you this because this is the Mary Halsey miniature sampler, and I've had this finished for several years. I just haven't put it together. I tried. Now, I got this at a thrift store, and it is an older exemplary pattern. It says 1982, but it is a reproduction sampler, and it's tiny. Of course, I got that one finished because it was tiny. So this is how it's finished. See that? She turned it under. They tell you how to turn it under and then stitch it onto some linen. The whole kit was there, minus I think 1 or 2 colors that I had to just kind of match, and minus the linen. It's just a natural linen. So, of course, I had some. Well, the first time I finished it, like this, as you can see, it wasn't even. And I had a friend who said, that's not even. If you were in a contest or something, you'd get counted off for that. So that put that in my head. I don't think she meant to. She knew how obsessive I am, but that put that in my head, and I didn't like it. So I took it apart, and I had this frame that I was going to put it in. I had this frame that I got when the place was going out of business, our local store. Well, so I took it off and I tried it again, and I tried to get it straight and tried to get it straight. And I looked at this one. Maybe you can see it better here. It's not straight on there. Look at this. It's not straight. They didn't do it straight when they did the example. So I even went and had mat cut, and I was just gonna mat it. I was just gonna mat it and not worry about that. But then I read the instructions again, and they said, if you want it to look authentic, this is how it was done. The Mary Halsey hem stitched it like that. So what I did was I took I don't believe it's in here, but I took that red fishing line stuff that you can buy. I think I bought it at Nordic Needle, and I literally, because I had done it with thread. I had gone down here with thread. In one of my attempts, I'd gone all the way around it with thread, but it still wasn't straight. So I went back to the pattern. I read exactly first line of thread. To maintain the miniature appearance found on the original, the edges must be hemmed as follows. Beginning at lower right-hand corner, band 18, count 3 threads below band, based around entire piece. From this first line, count 8 threads out, baste a second line around piece. Repeat this last row twice more. Your piece will have a total of 4 basting lines around the design. I did that. The first line is the sewing line, the second line is the roll line, the third line is the fold line, and the fourth line is the cutting line. I did all that. That's what this is, all turned under and stitched with some cotton thread, the same color. So that's done. And so then I had to get it on the backing straight. Well, I put the red line down, and I really got it straight because of that red fishing line. I could really stitch it on there straight. Here it is. I don't think you can see my stitching line. So I got that thing on there straight, and then the fabric was so stiff. So of course I go start reading textile museum stuff, and it says wash the starch and sizing out of your fabric because it can eventually, over time, who knows how long, 100 years, discolor, and it can abrade. So I took it all off again. I unstitched it again for like, I don't know how many times. And I washed this in Orvis, you know, the sodium lauryl sulfate. I washed it and rinsed it, washed it and rinsed it. I let it soak twice. Took it out, dried it, ironed it. It was still stiff as a board. This, I don't know what this is, but it was so freaking stiff with sizing. I read some more, and it said that, you know, that they, like, every fiber has got sizing on it when they use it. So, and starch and sizing are the same thing, just like the sizing is like has one different property or something from the starch. So then I researched, okay, how do I get starch and sizing out? And finally, I found out that you could try, my bestie said, try baking soda. Well, before that, I read something about white vinegar. So first, I soaked it in white vinegar. Second, I soaked it for hours, rinsed it out, and vinegar is acidic, so I thought, okay, well, I'll do the baking soda, which is pH neutral, second, and I did that second, and now it's much softer. I know a lot of the sizing is out. I don't know, it just makes me feel better to know it's out, so I stitched it back on. And now I have my backing. This is acid free. I buy this from Hobby Lobby. They'll cut it for me. I have my backing. I will pin it with my little tiny pins. I'll pin it and I'll lace it, and I'll be happy because I am done. I'm done with this. And that's not on straight, but I'm just showing you. And I'll lace it back here. Oh, no, I will not lace it. I'm gonna try, I was reading up on putting these together, and I got, I got double-sided stitchery tape. Don't ask me where I ordered this. Double-sided for mounting stitchery. I've never gotten this before, but I'm going to try to get it straight on there and put this tape on it. And I don't know if I'll still lace it or not. It depends on how. I think this is acid and solvent free. And I think it comes in a 1/2 inch size, but I'm pretty sure I ordered this off Amazon, and all they had was this big one, so I could even cut it. You could even cut it, but whatever. Safe on all types of fabrics, made in the USA. There you go. The saga of why I never get anything finished. Perfectionism, not fun. What else? Anything else? When I went to Europe, in Strasbourg, there was a yarn and fabric shop. I read just enough French. I know just enough French, and I can look in the window and see that they had. You couldn't see textiles from the window, but I could. What do they call it? Shoot, I can't remember what they call it. They don't call it fabric. Now I've forgotten because they corrected me, but you had to go down these little windy steps to the basement. And look at this. Isn't that cute? I got that. I didn't get very much. I just thought I'd make a project bag out of it. It was $20. I got that much. What is that, 1/2 yard? That should be plenty. And they had beautiful trims, gorgeous trims. I got this trim. Isn't that pretty? And it's not nylon-y. It feels cottony, just like what I like. Organic. Beautiful. This is 100% cotton. So that, I think, would make a cute bag. And then at Heidelberg Castle, I go in the gift shop, and what do I buy? Linen. Linens. Look at this. I think these were like 15 euro. Heavy, old feeling linen. Soft. I love it. I know, I'm weird. So this says Charvet Edition. Tissu, that's it. I think fabric was tissu, like tissue. Tisseur de Natura depuis 1866. So it says Charvet Editions, natural linen since 1866. I think, you could probably, it says made in France on the back, 100% linen. I think you could probably, if you're interested, find that being sold somewhere online. But I thought, wouldn't this be cute? And this is kind of, the red is like kind of a dark orangey red, like a tomato red. Wouldn't that be cute with some red work right there? And then as soon as I got it and I was looking at it, I was so happy with it. It's got like a nice finished woven edge. I was so happy with it. I had two thoughts. One, I cannot tell you how much natural linen kitchen towels, how many I have, because I probably washed, whitened, and ironed 30 of them, 25 or 30 of them from my mother-in-law, who got them from my husband's German mother, who used to buy them at church bazaars. But they're not this color. They're not the natural linen. They're the cream. And they're all upstairs in an acid-free box. What good is that doing? But they're in good shape. I fixed them all. Repair lady. So, and this one would be cute with black work on it. They're big too. See? Pretty big. I like them. So, and they were easy to bring back in my suitcase. I highly recommend buying linens when you're over there. Okay. I know I had more things to talk about. I've enjoyed watching other people's floss tubes, stitching by the lake. She's so funny. And I love that giant white shirt that you bought at the thrift store. And don't worry if your husband laughs about it. I actually bought this at the thrift store. Brought it home, washed it. It's Lucky Brand. I love Lucky Brand. Hey, the more we buy at the thrift store, the more we can spend on our stitching. Oh, I know what else. I got the number for my Needle Needs floor stand, and I've been tracking it. When last I saw it, it went to New York, and then it got to Pennsylvania, and then it was supposed to be here. It's really funny because when they sent me the notification, I thought that it said they sent it like on March 24th. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's like right when we left to go on our trip. And I thought, oh no, it's going to get here like when I'm on my trip and somebody might steal it off my front porch, blah, blah, blah. But my daughter was here at night after work watching my dogs, and we had a pet sitter who came during the day and let them out. But I asked her, and she said, no, you hadn't gotten any large packages. So, anyway, it said something when I looked on the tracking. It said that I would get it by June 4th, and I thought, what the heck? Now that's a slow train or slow boat or something if it's not going to get here till June 4th, and they mailed it on March 24th. Well, duh. That's not June 4th. It's not 6/4. It's 4/6 because in Europe they turn, your day and your month around from what we do. So it was supposed to come this week, but I just haven't gotten it yet. Maybe it'll come today. And the funny thing is, it was my birthday, and so somebody sent me, my daughter had bought me something off Amazon, and the UPS driver knows my dogs are kind of crazy when UPS comes. They're crazy at the door. So he parks on the road, which I told you is a busy road. He parks on the road. He runs down the driveway. He throws that box on my front door step. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that's not my floor stand. And then he runs back up to the street and gets back in his truck. So I'm going to be watching to make sure he doesn't throw the thing down on my front porch. I could show you the rest of the room, but I'll just point at that window treatment and say that's coming down. I'm tired of it. And it's all bunched up because my sewing machine cabinet is against that window, and it's pushed back, I guess, against the curtains. I want to change that. And I have a window seat in here that the dogs sit on all the time. They've scraped the paint all the way down. I mean, it really needs to be replaced. But the reason they've been able to do that since we moved in here 8 or 9 years ago is because for 8 or 9 years I've been meaning to do a window seat cushion. It's sitting down here on the ground by me. I've got the foam cut. I've got it covered with the polyester batting wrap. I've cut out all the piping. I've cut out all the sides and the top and the bottom. I'm following Sew Mama Sew's box cushion pattern. And I don't like machine sewing very much, so I just haven't ever finished it. And I've decided to hire somebody on Etsy or something to make me a cushion. I'll give her all the dimensions and everything. And my husband said, well, you shouldn't hire somebody to do that because you can do it. But you know what? Sometimes you should hire somebody to do it and do what you love instead. So with that, I'll say goodbye. Wiedersehen, since I've been over in Germany, where I ate lamb and escargot and loved it. Tanya, I just watched, and you did not like lamb, but I had some that was yummy. Anyway, we enjoyed our trip a lot. Okay, I'm leaving. I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and have a wonderful day. It's beautiful outside.